Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So we've got another electric blues guitar lesson for you today. We're going to be looking at 4 turnarounds used by Gary Moore in the song Walking By Myself. So I've been learning the song Walking By Myself over the last week or two. It's a great number, a song that I absolutely loved when I was growing up. Finally kind of found the time to go back and learn it. And in the course of learning the song, it struck me that there's 4 turnarounds that Gary Moore used that you could actually use in any blues song in A. There are 4 turnarounds. The first one's really simple. The others get harder. The last one's pretty tough because there's quite a lot of notes. It's going pretty fast. But they do increase in difficulty. And they're the 4 turnarounds that he uses in this song. And I thought it'd make a great little video lesson for the YouTube channel. So the way the lesson's going to work is I'll show you that, well, first of all, I'll explain exactly what I mean by a turnaround. It's a little 2-bar phrase. Then I'll show you the licks one by one, and then at the end of the video I'll then show you the rhythm part as well, so that if you want to kind of jam along to the track and play the turnarounds in context, that you can do that. There's no backing track to accompany this lesson. Most of my lessons usually there's a backing track as well. There isn't for this because you can use either the original track, or I had a quick search on YouTube. There's tons of really good quality backing tracks for Walking By Myself already, so you can just use one of those. But the tab will be available as usual. Tab will be on screen, and if you drop me an email, same as always with any of the lessons, drop me an email and I'll email the tab across to you free of charge. Okay, so start off, what is a turnaround? Well, a turnaround is the last 2 bars of a blues chord progression, whether it's an 8-bar blues like Walking By Myself, or whether it's a 12-bar blues like Sweet Home Chicago or something. Doesn't really matter. It's those last 2 bars. It's where you're on the root note, the root chord, and then what you do is you play the chord, the 5th chord, the chord 5 chords above it. And what it does is it tells the listener, hey, we're turning around, we're going to start again, we're going to start the whole progression again. That's why it's called a turnaround. So when we're in the key of E, we're going to have basically 1 bar of E and then a bar of B7 before the whole chord progression starts again. Sometimes you might find a chord progression that's kind of E, A, E, B. And turnarounds, the same turnaround licks will work just as well over those chords as it will for just a straight E to B. Okay, so if you think of 12 bar or 8 bar or wherever it is, those last 2 bars of the progression, that's where these licks fit in. Okay, so lick 1 now goes like this. Okay, really simple. It's a great lick. I actually showed a variation on this, very similar variation on one of the videos I did last year on, I think it was Chicago Blues. It's the same basic idea. So Gary uses this in Walking By Myself quite a number of times. It's the one he uses the most often. All the others he only ever uses once. This one he uses several times. And what the idea is that we're basically walking up from the E up to the B. And the way he does this is he plays 2 open E, and then 3rd fret, which is the G note, 3rd fret on the open E string, and you're going to bend that sharp to the G sharp. Okay, then you're going to play open E, A, which is the 5th fret, open E, 6th fret, open E, and then the B, which is on the 7th fret, and then you're going to play 5 on the A, back to 7 on the open E, on the low E, I mean. Okay, so the whole lick, nice and slow. Okay, really nice and easy, and again, you can use that in tons of songs. If you're just playing kind of straight rhythm guitar, that's a really great lick to play in because it's not too flashy. It's not going to go over the lead guitar or over the vocals or something else that's going on. So that's a really good one. As I say, In my Northbound blues band, I probably use that on, well, at least 3 or 4 songs every night. Anyway, there we go. So that's lick 1, really nice and easy. Lick 2 goes like this. Okay, lick 2, nice and slow. Okay, so we're going to start by pulling off on the top E, 3 to open. Then we're going to play open G, and then we're going to play 3 on the G, pulling off to 2 on the G, pulling off to open on the G, and then landing 2 on the D string. So that's the first half of the lick. Nice and slow, goes like this. Then what we're doing here is we're kind of pedaling and using this side of my index finger, because we're playing 2 on the D string and 2, I'm playing between 2 on the D and 2 on the G. Okay, so far we've got the pull off, 3 to open on the top E, then 3 to 2 to open on the G, then 2 on the D, back to 2 on the G, back to 2 on the D string, back to open on the G, and then you're going to hammer on the first fret of the G string before playing 2 on the D and then 2 on the A string twice. Okay, so nice and slow. Okay, and then up to speed. Okay, I must admit, when I first learned this one, it was a bit, I was kind of wrapping my fingers around it. I was trying different fingerings. The one I've just showed you is the way I play it. So I'm using my index finger to do that kind of pedaling, and then the index finger for the hammer on the G, second finger for the D string, back to the index finger on the A string. Take it nice and slow, and you'll quickly get it. One thing I should say about these licks is that it's important to try and get a sense of the beat, or where the beat falls. So one of the things that kind of helped me when I was learning this to try and get the rhythm right is to start with just kind of 2 hits on the muted open E, and then when you play the lick, what I do is try and emphasize the notes that land on the beat. So I'll do this at a kind of medium tempo, and you'll see what I mean. If that kind of makes sense. So it's trying to feel that pulse as it goes through. Otherwise it just becomes a jumble of notes. Anyway, that was lick 2. Lick 3 is very similar, but we've jumped right up to the 12th fret now. An octave higher. Now this one Gary plays in the middle of the solo. So the actual turnaround goes like this. So this comes halfway through the solo after he's done the kind of the funny trill thing. So if you listen out for it, you'll be able to hear it in the actual solo. It's right in the middle of the solo. So the actual notes that he plays, we're starting 15th fret of the B string, and we're bending that up a whole tone. Then we're hitting top E at the 12th, and then we're using our index finger to pedal onto the next adjacent string, so 12 on the B. Okay, then we're doing the same kind of 3-note pull off that we had in lick 2. So we're going 15 to 14 and then to 12 on the G. And then what we're doing is we're landing 14 on the D string, 14 on the G string, 14 on the D string, and then we're doing the same kind of end move that we did on lick 2, except we're an octave higher now. So we're going 12 on the G, hammer on to 13 on the G, 14 on the D string, 14 on the A string, 14 on the A string again. Okay, so the whole lick, nice and slow. Okay, so that was lick 3. As I say, that one comes in halfway through the solo. Lick 4 now has the most notes and is right at the end of the solo, so it's the final phrase of the solo. And that goes like this. Okay, and now I'll try it a little bit slower. Okay, so what we're doing is we're starting top E, top E string, 12th fret, B string on the 15th fret, B string 12, and then we're doing the triple pull-off thing, so we're going 15, 14, 12 as a pull-off. Okay, just do that once. Then we're going 14 on the D string, 14 on the G string, 14 on the D string again. And now what we're doing is we're doing 12 on the G string, 14 on the D string, 12 on the D string, 14 on the A string, and then he ends with this little 3-note run that just goes 12, 13, 14 on the A string. The whole thing nice and slow. Okay, so there you go. There's the 4 licks. You can use those in any 12-bar blues in E, or you can actually just shift into another position if you want to play them in a different key. Really good, useful turnarounds, particularly if you want to play something that sounds a little bit more flashy. Okay, so the song as a whole is pretty straightforward. 8-bar blues in E. It basically has 2 main parts. The first part goes like this. Okay, and you'll hear him do that in the intro and in the verses as well. In the intro, he does some other things like he'll do this kind of thing. Where he's grabbing the 9th fret, B and G string, and just bringing the volume up and then sliding off. He also does some trills, I think. Where are we? 8th fret. Is that no? 7th fret to the 9th fret of the G string. You'll hear him do that at some point. Obviously, for all those trills and things, and if you listen to the record, Gary Moore's using quite a lot of gain going on there, more than I'm actually using for this particular lesson. But if you want to do all those kind of flashy trills and things, you probably need a bit more gain than I'm using. A little bit of delay wouldn't go amiss either. Okay, so he does that, and then he ends the verse and the intro section with this riff. Okay, so that's just simple. A string, 2 open, bottom A, 3 open. And then he plays 12th fret, G and B string together. And then if you imagine like a B7 chord right up high, so I'll read this out. So we've got 14th fret of the A string, 11th fret of the D string, 14th fret of the G string, and then little finger on the 15th of the B string to make that. If you know the Hendrix chord, for instance, it's E7 flat 9. It's that chord. So Hendrix used that in like what was it? Purple Haze and a bunch of other songs. It's that chord, but move right up to there to the B position there, and he basically kind of hits that a bunch of times before he's then into the main rhythm part for the chorus, and that's basically on the E. That kind of thing. So it's just like a straight E boogie. What I'm doing there is E string and A string, but A string fretted at the 2nd fret. I'm moving up to the 4th fret and then the 5th fret. It's just kind of like a straight boogie. The only thing to say about it is on the beat immediately before you go into that, Gary Moore seems to hit the open E and B strings. So you get this kind of thing. Okay, so that's that. He does that for the E, and then when he comes to move up to the A position, what he does is he plays this little run. Okay, so that little run is open E, second on the E, open E, third on the E string, open, fourth, and then to the A. Okay, again, standard kind of Chicago little run, and I actually covered that one as well in the Chicago rhythm lesson that I did a year or so ago. Okay, so then he plays on the A, and then on the B, and then he'll play his turnaround. Okay, pretty much that's the whole lesson. That's the whole song. That's all he does. It's a great track to kind of jam along with. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find those turnarounds useful. That second turnaround I particularly like, that actually works really well on acoustic guitar as well. I will be using that one myself. So thanks to everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you like it, please leave me some comments, because I'm just in my spare room kind of doing this, and I hope that somebody out there is watching this and likes it. If you found this useful, please let me know. Thank you to the few people who sponsor me on Patreon. That's a massive help, a massive encouragement. I honestly can't say thank you enough. It's wonderful. And thank you to everybody who leaves me comments. And if you like this video, please share it on Facebook or wherever else. If you're in a blues guitar forum or wherever, I'd really appreciate that. I hope you enjoy it. More lessons to come. Stay tuned, and I'll see you again soon.